Hi, my name is Laura. I'm from a small town in eastern Iowa, and tonight we wanted chicken Alfredo. To go with that, I am going to make Cheddar Bay biscuits, well, a dupe of it, like we'd get from Red Lobster. Fun fact, when my husband and I were first dating, we went to Red Lobster for everything. For anniversaries, Valentine's Days, birthdays, it was great. And it's kind of our pastime. We don't do that here anymore. So to start off, I'm just getting my butter ready in a bowl, so when I need to melt it, I already have it done and ready. This recipe does call for buttermilk, which I don't generally keep on hand, but I do have whole milk and I have some lemon juice. And so I've got 3/4 of a cup of whole milk and about a tablespoon, give or take, of lemon juice. Go ahead and stir that around and set it to the side so it can have a chance to kind of curdle and do its thing. Here I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and to that I'm going to add about a tablespoon. I did a little bit more because my baking powder is a little older, and 2 teaspoons of a garlic powder or granulated garlic, about a teaspoon and a half of salt, and some baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Go ahead and give that a quick mix just to incorporate all the dry ingredients together. Meanwhile, I went ahead and melted my butter, and I'm going to pour my melted butter into my mix of lemon juice and milk. And you can kind of see here in a second the milk had kind of started to curdle. Go ahead and dump that into my dry ingredients. Mix it thoroughly just to the point where there's no flour left. Normally you would add cheddar cheese. This is what I have, so I'm doing a handful, which is like give or take a cup. Go ahead and stir that in. I ended up using my hands to really make sure it got mixed thoroughly. And then you'll see I'm just going to kind of flatten it into the bottom of the bowl to an even layer, and I'm going to take my knife and cut it into quarters. And each quarter I'm going to kind of roll in my hand into like a log and then divide it into thirds to try and get them as even as possible. And in the end, I'll have 12 biscuits. These will go in a 450-degree preheated oven, checking them at 10 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and get my buttery topping done, which is real simple. It's a half a stick of butter. I melted it in the microwave for 30 seconds. There's still a little bit in there, but the residual heat when I stirred around should finish melting that. To that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of dried parsley flakes, along with about a half a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of garlic powder or granulated garlic. So I took the biscuits out after 10 minutes and they were still a little doughy on the inside. So I put them back in for 2, testing them with a toothpick. and they're cooked perfectly. So for my oven and my dough ball size, it took about 12 minutes. So now I'll take my buttery topping and start putting them on top of each of the biscuits. These were really good, but don't use salted butter and add the salt because it was a bit salty, but very good. So I'm just going to set these aside until we're ready for them. So I had these 2 packs of chicken left in the fridge, and I have more in the freezer, but these ones I wanted to get used up. So I'm going to cook it all, and I'll put half of it in the freezer, cooked for next time or later, whatever meal feels right. So I'm just doing a small-ish dice on this, and I'm putting them straight into my cast iron. It has a little bit of butter residue left over from eggs from breakfast, but it'll be just fine. We'll get these all cut up. And I'm just going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. Nothing too crazy because I'm not sure what I'm going to use the other half of the chicken for later down the road. I'm just going to go ahead and put this on the stovetop, turn my gas up on high, and I decided I'm going to cook this in bacon grease. We always save our bacon grease. It just sits in the fridge in containers, and I saw it this morning and thought, why not? Normally I would use olive oil, but have this, might as well use it up. So now it's time to make some sauce. I took about a tablespoon or 2 of butter, and I'm just heating it in the pan so I can cook up this garlic pucks that I had in the freezer. So I pulled 2 of those out earlier today and let them thaw. Get that going, a quick little cook. And this is some garlic and herb seasoning that I get from the Amish. We really like it in our Alfredo. I'm doing about 2 tablespoons in there, and we'll get that toasting up as well with the garlic with the butter. Now I'm going to add the rest of that stick of butter, get that melty, and I had this Boursin cheese. I got the 3-pack from Costco, and I didn't use as much of it during the holidays as I should have. And I did use like 1.5 of them during the pantry challenge. Normally I would not add this, but I decided to just to get it out of my fridge. So I'm going in with my first cup of cream here, and we're going to let that thicken and start to bubble and get warm. So now I'm going in with my second and final cup of heavy cream. Get all that in there, and once again, let it get warm, bubbly, and thick. If I have a little bit of Parmesan cheese left, I'm going to go ahead and scrape off the good stuff off of the rind. We do save our rind. It works great in soups, and so we just keep it in the freezer. So I scrape that off, and then this is the rest of the Parmesan I had. I just cut it up into smaller pieces. I'm going to let that work on getting warm and melted, giving it a quick stir throughout. I did season my sauce with some pepper and some dry parsley. I did not add any salt because the Parmesan is pretty salty. So I'm just let this cook down till it gets nice and warm. On the side, I went ahead and threw a bag of frozen broccoli in the microwave. So we added that to our plate with our biscuit. This is Oliver's plate. These noodles are the easiest for him to eat. Chicken, sauce. It was delicious. Thanks for watching.